What's up, everybody? It's been a little while since I've done a Q&A, especially on YouTube, but I decided to take some questions from the internet, mostly from Instagram. I did do some through Patreon as well, but I always seem to get the most engagement out of Instagram. I did go back to Instagram since a couple months ago I said I was off, mostly just to promote the new EP that I put out. I'm not really using it as much as I used to, but I've always got good engagement there, so I at least wanted to talk about the music that I did just put out. It's an EP called This, That, and the Other Thing. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. It's been out for almost 2 weeks now, and I just really appreciate everybody checking it out. So anyway, I took some questions and I'm going to go through them and answer a few. And if you guys have any other questions that you'd like to submit, maybe for another one of these, maybe I can do them a little more often. Feel free to leave them below, or if it's something I feel like just answering real quick, I might respond just right in the comments there. So anyway, first question. I'm kind of filming this out of order, but a message I got from Stupid Weeb asked if I was going to be doing a rig rundown soon, and that actually inspired me to finally do a rig rundown, and that is already posted, but thank you to Stupid Weeb. You are the reason why I did it, and I hope you enjoyed it. I talked a lot about all of my guitars. I completely forgot to talk about what I use for my amps and my studio monitors and any of my pedals and all that sort of stuff. So maybe I'll make a part 2 soon. And anyway, I just thought that just wanted to give a thank you to Stupid Weeb for suggesting that I do that. People have been asking for a little while, and the main reason why I didn't do that was just because my stable of guitars has just changed so often over the last few years that now that it's kind of slowed down, it felt like a good time to do it. So check it out if you haven't already. All right, this is a question from Minosi M. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's a 2-part question. It says, do you regret becoming a big part of the Blink-182 community? And 2, do you feel misunderstood? I wouldn't say that I regret becoming a part of the Blink community. I mean, I wouldn't have most of my subscribers if it wasn't for Blink. I know that 100%. And basically, I use Blink and Blink-related stuff these days to get the views and the subscribers. And I just hope that, even 5% of them are willing to check out my original music. That's why I still do both on the YouTube page. I don't really care to do most Blink covers or anything like that, but it's just kind of the thing that I took on many years ago, and it's just helped me amass, any sort of support on my original music, apart from, personal friends and family. And I'm very thankful for that. So, yeah, I'm happy to continue being a part of the Blink community. Absolutely. I do still like a lot of it. So, and second part of the question, do I feel misunderstood? As far as by my subscribers and followers online, yeah, I definitely do. A lot of people think I'm some pop punk princess of sorts. Shout out to something corporate. But that's punk rock princess. Yeah, what am I saying? But anyway, a lot of people think they know my tastes, and a lot of times they couldn't be more wrong. I'm not really into pop punk as a whole. There's a lot of it that I do like, but most of it I just don't really care about because, just as a genre, it's pretty, what's the word I'm thinking of? I don't know what word I'm thinking of, but it's very obvious what a lot of it is. A lot of it is just not very unique. They all just kind of do a lot of the same things, and I'm just not all that interested in it. The older I get, the more I kind of spread my wings a little bit as far as music goes. I'm not trying to listen to the same things every day. I get into the harder side of punk a lot these days. Like the new Propaganda album just came out. Really, really enjoying that. I like a lot of jazzy type stuff, a lot of fusion, tons of instrumental things, obviously. Anything from, 80s pop to, God knows anything today. So I really feel like most people expect me to be, just the pop punk guy, through and through, but that's just not really the case. All right. Agent Trance wants to know, will I make another Hardtail Jazz Master for sale soon? I'm really not planning on doing any sort of builds in the near future. I mean, that certainly could change. Sometimes I get inspired by, a body or a neck maybe that I see for sale on Reverb or eBay or something. It does happen. But just the way that the market has been lately, prices are up, and I'll be honest, my money is down. I don't feel like spending a ton of my money these days working on these builds. I mean, I'm pretty happy with what I have personally, so I don't really feel the need to jump into any more projects right now. But I mean, like I said, that could change if I found a good deal on something. You never do know. But there's certainly nothing planned. I'm just kind of taking it easy for right now. Plus, work's just been really busy, and most of the time I get out of work and I'm just exhausted anyway. So I'm surprised I even have the energy to make this video right now. So I don't know. Someday it could continue. We'll see what happens. If you're interested in a Hardtail Jazz right now, I highly suggest hitting up my boy Alan Corona. He's got a website, Thalassa Basses, I think is the website, or Thalassa Instruments. You can find him on Instagram at Alan Corona. He's a great dude. I've worked with him a bunch, over the past few years, and he's like the nicest guy I've ever met. So highly recommend him. And he's done a bunch of Hardtail Jazz Masters. He did one recently that was a plaid jazz master, just like the Groundskeeper Willie bass, and the thing was absolutely gorgeous. I was very jealous of that one. Next question. This question is from Milsavich or Milsavich. What's your favorite pickup for your own music? So, just kind of by coincidence, I have my main Hardtail Strat here. This is a bare knuckle Juggernaut pickup, and it is 100% the best pickup I've ever used. It's incredibly versatile. It can do really heavy stuff. It can do really clean stuff, especially if you do a coil tap. I don't have one on this one, or a coil split. I don't have one of those on this one. I should do like a push-pull pot or something on here. But for any of my heavier songs, this guitar just does it all. Whether it's leads or rhythm, it doesn't matter. It just always is 100% perfect. And secondly, my Jazzmaster. This one has a bare knuckle supermassive P90. It's a humbucker sized P90, and that pickup is also incredible. So between the two of them, they really take care of like 99% of what I need. Realistically, I could do it. I could say 100%, but it's nice to have, a couple other little things here and there. But that pickup, I usually use that one for most rhythm stuff, especially if the song isn't like 100% like super heavy. But I've used it for recording for years now, both of them, and I love them. Fabian wants to know if I've ever played the Tom DeLonge Epohone 333 guitar, and is it worth the resale price? In my opinion, I think it is the worst of the Tom DeLonge signature guitars. I've played one once at a Guitar Center, and granted, you can't just pick up any guitar at Guitar Center and expect it to be perfect. But it was set up pretty well. But the neck was very, very big, surprisingly big. had to be the biggest neck that I've ever felt on a Tom DeLonge guitar, which is surprising because most of his models, were geared towards, beginner players. I really just didn't like the quality of the build. I didn't like the color. The color was always a little weird for me. It was more green than like it was like more olive green than the brown that it was kind of inspired to be. I don't know. It just felt clunky. I don't really like Epiphones all that much in general. They just don't feel like a Gibson to me, and they never have, and they never will, realistically. I don't personally think they're worth the resale price that they are now. I've seen them, floating around, the early or the lower 1,000 range and up. And I definitely don't think it's worth it. I mean, if you came across one that was like $500 or $600, I'd say, yeah, snag it, give it a shot. But I don't think it's a very good guitar personally. It's not really for me. I think the Starcaster is 10 times the guitar that the 333 is. I absolutely loved both of the ones that I had for the little while that I had them. Really, really great guitars, and you can find them for pretty good prices if you're willing to do like a factory second, or, one of the ones that don't come with like the warranties that are like dinged up a little bit or whatever. Those guitars still rip. Really, really nice. Delgado wants to know how to be happy and how to not give a damn. Well, I gotta be honest, you're right. I don't give a damn about most people's opinions. That really has come from just putting myself on YouTube for, almost 20 years now. I've been heckled, in the comments so many times, people saying that I'm playing stuff wrong, or that I'm fat, or that I'm balding, or that my music's not good, or my taste in music sucks. I mean, you name it. I've heard pretty much every comment that you can get, from that sort of aspect, I guess. And, you start to realize that most of other people that do these sort of things, they're just miserable. And I know that people say that, but it's true. You can't let other people dictate the way that you feel. For example, like I put out music, original music, once a year, maybe once every 2 years or something. And it's something that I make for me. I don't make my music for anybody else. It's awesome that some people out there really dig it, but at the end of the day, I'm making something that I'm proud of, something that I wanted to do, and I don't care if anybody listened to it, realistically. If it got 0 monthly listeners on Spotify, I'd say, you know what, that's fine, because I still really like the songs that I put out. As far as how to be happy, I can't answer that for you. Everybody finds happiness in different ways, and you have to realize that. You can't compare yourself to others. You really have to find what works for you, and that just is how it goes for everything in life. You can't make comparisons to everything else. If you have kids, you can't compare your kids' growth to somebody else, and you can't do the same for you. You gotta realize that you're gonna do things a little differently than everybody else, and you just have to keep trying, try different things, go out of your comfort zone a little bit, and you never know what you might find that could surprise you. So hopefully that helps. Calvin No Hobbs wants to know my thoughts on Alex Lifeson. I feel like I've spoken very highly of Alex Lifeson over the years. I mean, Rush is my favorite band. I am not shy about that, and I think Alex is an incredibly underrated guitar player. The guy is just an absolute beast on guitar, and he knows when to show off and when not to. And he's such a funny guy too. I mean, I love watching the way that like he would interact with his other band members, and he just seems like the most genuine, nice guy out there, realistically. I love the different eras of Rush. From the early stuff, like anything from like 2112 or Farewell to Kings or anything like that, he's really rocking. But then they go into like the late 70s, early 80s, and they're doing more of like more intricate sort of stuff, and you can really see just how smart of a guitar player he is. He's very expressive. I love that he used volume pedals a lot because he's so good with creating a landscape with his guitar sound, and creating moods and just being so expressive. And a little bit later, they get into like the synth era. And I know he kind of struggled with finding a place of his own in that era because the synths have a similar sort of sound with, the spectrum of sound, like lows and highs, whenever it kind of sits in the same sort of space as guitar. So he really struggled to try to find a way to fit in there. But even then, I mean, a lot of those songs, like, it'll be fairly simple in the verses, and then when it's finally his time to shine, like, he really made it worth the wait, the 3 minutes or whatever into the song to hear him, like, really start going. And even into the 90s, and 2000s, he really, really grew a lot, and I always loved his style. I love everything he does. The dude is just awesome. All right, so that's about it for questions this time around. I didn't want to go too long on this video. I don't know what it's at already, at least probably 20 minutes now. But if you have any other questions, feel free to leave them below. I'd be happy to do another one of these videos. And thank you to everybody that did leave me a question. Sorry if I didn't get to yours. There was a good amount. And yeah, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, if you haven't checked out my new EP, please do. I'm really proud of it. You can find it pretty much anywhere if you're a Spotify listener or YouTube Music, Amazon, Apple Music. It's on all of those sites. Big shout out to Angel Hernandez for doing the drums again. He did the drums on my Little Chaos album. So he's on 2 of the songs in this EP. The other 2 don't have drums, really. And then another big thank you to Viking Guitar, who did all the production for me. Another awesome guy. So I'm working on some more new music, and just keep an ear out for that. It's going to be another fun project. So yeah, that's about all I got. Till next time, I'll see you guys somewhere.